I'm Sarah Morgan, and I am a tour guide at Historic Ripa Villa here in Spring Hill, Tennessee. This past year, I actually cooked my way through all of the First Ladies with this book that I actually found at a thrift store. It ended at Reagan, but I did not end there. So I am honored that the First Ladies Library has asked me to cook a few recipes for you guys today. So I'm hoping to show you a few different ideas that you can have to make your own presidential meal and tell you a little bit about a few First Ladies while we're at it. So the very first is grape salad. Andrew Jackson and his wife Rachel Jackson loved grape salad. At the Hermitage, which is also a site here in Middle Tennessee, they actually told me that they loved the grape salad. So it's really easy. You get a good mix of green and red grapes, and then you mix together a pack of cream cheese, a cup of sour cream, a third cup of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and that's just for one serving. And then basically, you just put your mixture in with your grapes and toss her up. Now, Rachel Jackson never actually officially served as First Lady. She passed away right after Andrew Jackson was elected president. However, she never intended to go to Washington. She absolutely hated the spotlight. Most people did not like her because she'd been married before Andrew Jackson, and he was not a very nice man. He told her they were divorced, but they weren't actually divorced. So when she married Andrew, it was actually an illegal marriage. So she was judged very heavily for that in the public eye. And Andrew Jackson himself attributed her death to the stress that she felt from the press and the public. So the grape salad is really, again, easy to make. And then you'll want to wait right before you serve it to add this part. But it is brown sugar and chopped pecans. So you'll just kind of take that, sprinkle it around. This one's pretty heavy on the cream cheese mixture, so you can kind of go a little lighter, a little heavier, depending on what you want. But this is a great, really simple dish that you could serve for any sort of gathering. So there you go. Next, we are going to talk about Lucy Hayes and Rutherford B. Hayes. They liked roast beef and parsnips. Now, I'd never made parsnips before I cooked for the Hayeses. So I actually ended up falling in love with them. I love the parsnips, they're great. So that is one thing that we're gonna actually cook today. So you got your parsnips, you're gonna wanna peel them and then chop them lengthwise. The first step in cooking the parsnips is called parboiling. So I'm gonna go start the water here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just boil these until they're a little bit soft and then saute them in the butter. And that's literally all that you have to do for the parsnips. Earlier, I did go ahead and pre-make the roast beef. So you can get a really nice cut of meat, and this one's actually a local piece of sirloin from Tallgrass Meats in Columbia, Tennessee. So it's very easy to make a roast, especially with the one from the presidential cookbook. Basically, just put a little butter in your cast iron skillet or pot. And then I added a little onion just for a little extra flavor, and then you'll put some beef fat in there as well. Then just put your piece of meat in there, season it with a little flour, a little salt and pepper, and then just pop it in the 350 oven for a couple hours. And you're ready to go with a tender piece of meat. So once your water is boiling, you're just gonna take your parsnips that you've peeled and place them in the boiling water and cook them for just a couple of minutes, just to soften them up a little bit. Parboiling is actually usually used with potatoes, but it works really well for parsnips too. So while we're waiting on that, we're gonna talk about a little bit about Lucy Hayes. She was the first lady to earn a college degree. However, she would not support the women's suffrage movement at that time. She felt that most women weren't educated enough to make intelligent decisions about the voting process. She also didn't want to damage her husband's political career or reputation because she was actually very popular in the public eye. She did support the temperance movement. She was a longtime teetotaler, and she actually made the White House completely, fully abstinent of any alcohol, which gained her the nickname Lemonade Lucy. She also was an animal lover, and at one time had a mockingbird, 2 dogs, a goat, and a Siamese cat, which was a national first. So while we wait on our parsnips, we're going to move on to Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, she, of course, was the longest serving First Lady with 4 terms, and she was also very popular. In an unprecedented time in the White House, she totally revamped the kitchen, making it much more nutritional and money-saving. She actually developed what she called 7-cent meals, and that was to stand in solidarity with the general public during the Great Depression. However, these meals were not very popular with literally anyone, especially FDR. And another gentleman, Ernest Hemingway, actually wrote down in 1937 he was almost offended by being served rainwater soup. Rainwater soup was basically just extremely watered down chicken broth. So most people tried to eat before they would actually attend dinners at the White House with Eleanor. But like I said, she was just trying to be alongside the American public, which was sort of the kind of lady that she was. So in addition to the rainwater soup, she also created a bobo tea salad. That was rice, bananas, almonds, and then you mix that together with French dressing and Worcestershire sauce. So another weird dish that you can try to make later if you want. Wasn't too bad. But deviled eggs were another one of her 7-cent meals. So I wanted to include that today with some of the holidays coming up. Deviled eggs are a great addition to your Easter table or Passover table. And so all you're going to want to do is you're going to mix together mustard, mayonnaise, sugar, a little bit of pickle juice or vinegar, and then a pinch of salt. So this particular recipe is actually a family recipe. In order to get it just right, you just kind of slowly mix this all together with your egg yellows. Then just put it in a tubing bag or a baggie like I have and cut that, and then fill your eggs. So in order to get your consistency just right, you'll just kind of trial and error. Just put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Some people like it with more mustard, and some like it a little sweeter. Personally, I like it a little sweeter. So Eleanor Roosevelt also wrote a newspaper column for 27 years, kind of going through her life and times in the White House, as well as politics of the time. So if while you're home during this time and you're interested in reading, you can order a copy of her book, Eleanor Roosevelt's My Day. And this is a total collection of all of those newspaper articles, which is a great read. It's really interesting, and Eleanor was just a fascinating lady. She was one of my first favorite first ladies to learn about. So once you've got your eggs filled, then I like to top it with a little bit of paprika. So just kind of sprinkle that on there a little bit, gives it a little color, a little extra flavor. And you're ready to go. So another very easy dish that you can make with probably a lot of the things that you still have around your house today. So, still waiting on the parsnips a little bit to get a little bit softer there, but we'll go ahead and start our skillet to fry them up a little bit. So our last dish that we're going to make today is what I would consider to be kind of the weirdest dish that I'm going to show you guys how to make. But it actually was one of the favorites of all of the dishes that I cooked over the course of this past year. My husband's very excited about it. So although it looks strange and it seems weird, you might want to give it a shot. Even our daughter, who's 11, liked it. So this is a recipe from Martha Jefferson, who also never served as First Lady, technically, officially. She passed away 19 years before Thomas was elected president. So her daughter, whose name was also Martha, served in that capacity. And Dolly Madison would sometimes step in as well. So this is a vegetable chartreuse. So here's your mixture. This is sour cream, creamed spinach, peas, and carrots, as well as 2 whole eggs and 3 egg whites. So again, seems weird, but another thing that you're gonna do for this is take a little baking pan such as this, and your most important part is to use your vegetable Crisco and really, really get this thing so nothing is gonna stick to it. That's your main goal with the chartreuse. So you're gonna wanna really, really overly Crisco your pan. Then you're gonna have asparagus tips, Brussels sprouts, and carrots. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to kind of lay them out in whatever pattern that you want. And I'll kind of show you a little bit here of what you do. And you just stick it to the sides and the bottom of the pan. This is kind of what we're doing there. Just popping them on. You just kind of, I like to put all the Brussels sprouts together in 2 sections, you know, but you can really do it however you want with using these vegetables. And all of these that I used are all canned vegetables. Kind of makes it a little easier. And you definitely want to make sure that your vegetables are cold. That's another important element to a chartreuse. So, well, we're just gonna take a minute from that. Our parsnips seem like they're probably pretty good. So, as you can see, got our parsnips ready to go. They're just a little bit soft. They're like 50 to 60% of the way cooked. And then we're just gonna take them, and I've got butter in the skillet here, and we're just gonna saute them up just a little bit. So let those cook for just a second. And then back to this. And then once you have your filling done in here, then you're gonna pour the mixture into your little project here. And then you are gonna bake it in a dish filled with just a little bit of water on 350 for about an hour, or until it's, you know, very solid on top. And you'll see why here in just a minute. I do have a finished product for y'all to see. Again, it looks very weird, but it is actually pretty good. All right, so after you get all of your items in there, you just pour your mixture in, and then after you bake it, what you're gonna get is a vegetable chartreuse. So as you can see, it's a little solid, but it's actually really good. So just as a recap, we have Martha and Thomas Jefferson's vegetable chartreuse, Eleanor Roosevelt's deviled eggs, Rachel and Andrew Jackson's grape salad, and the Hayes's roast beef, and what will be really delicious parsnips to go on the side. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing some recipes with you again.